After 10 weeks, Zach Wilson gets benched for the New York Jets. The Steelers have fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. And are the Broncos truly for real? Are they a playoff team? Are we going to see a new Broncos towards the end of the season and on to Thanksgiving weekend? We have all that plus our Thanksgiving and Black Friday game picks all coming up next right here on Surge Sports. Welcome everyone to the 12th Horseshoe podcast alongside Jack Rizzo. I'm Elijah Weintraub. We are 2 days out to Thanksgiving, so we hope everyone has a happy and safe Thanksgiving for the time to come, and it's going to be filled with lots of football, joy, and fun. And before we get into all the fun breakdowns of what a crazy week 11 it was, we have a few news topics that I will bring up real quick, and that includes teams that had to buy nor kind of had to buy. Long story. And also this week, Jack went 11-3 on picks and went 3-0 on LSU. I went 9-5 and 3-0 on LSU.
I finally won the picks. Finally.
It only took you 11 weeks.
Oh no, I've won it like 3 or 4 times before, but it's been a few weeks since I've won.
Don't worry, you're still losing. Okay, all right.
Oh, thanks, Eli. Thanks for that relevant update.
But you won already in Lock Survivor and Upset. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
I could try all I want. I could still possibly win, but I don't think I'm beating you.
Yeah, I'm good at Lock Survivor Upset, but
the actual game picks.
Oh, please. Okay.
All right. Let's get to some few new topics before we move on, and we'll get Jack's thoughts in just a minute. We already have our first flex of the season for Week 13. The Denver Broncos versus Houston Texans will now be moving to the 1 o'clock hour, and the Panthers-Buccaneers game will be moving to the 4:05 game slot. Both games will remain on CBS. That is the first flex of the season. Further tests resulted that Mark Andrews, the tight end, have showed that the ankle injury is not as bad as predicted, so he is expected to possibly return for a few games towards the end of the season. Yesterday's Monday Night Football game, the Super Bowl rematch, averaged a total of 29 million views. It is the Walt Disney Company's high and ESPN's most watched game. That game was available on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, NFL Plus, ESPN Deportes, and a whole bunch of channels that I cannot mention right now. And 1.9 million views watched the Payne and Eli broadcast. That was the most watched broadcast, if you're interested to know. And the second best game in the company's history was Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers in 1996 with 31 million views. And this is a television franchise record for last night's game. So a lot of records set, and a huge for the Walt Disney Company and, of course, ESPN, which is owned by Disney. And also, the Colts are releasing linebacker Shaquille Leonard.
Yeah.
This is pretty huge. I don't know exactly why. You're a Colts fan. You know exactly why. And what are your thoughts on it? Because you are a Colts fan overall.
Well, first off, I'll go off the topics you mentioned before. So the Broncos-Texans game getting flexed, that certainly makes sense. Now, some people might be wondering why this game got flexed from a 4 o'clock to a 1 o'clock game. And the reason is because that week CBS has a single header, and the Eagles and 49ers have a massive, massive game at 4:25 on Fox that same weekend. And basically, the NFL just doesn't want to have any competition so that everybody in the league is watching that game. So the Broncos-Texans moved to the earlier window, so we have a larger audience that can watch the game because you have two teams that are fighting for a playoff spot in a big 1 o'clock game. So that's why it got moved.
And also keep in mind too is the Broncos and the Texans are both good teams. So that is also a good match, as you mentioned. So that's why you don't want to have double competition. You want to watch one.
And about the Eagles-Chiefs Monday night game. That's I'm not surprised that set a lot of records. I mean, that was a Super Bowl rematch to two number one seeds currently in their respective conferences. Not anymore. The Ravens are now the number one seed. Thanks to the Chiefs.
Indeed. We'll get
and
to
then
that
also, Taylor Swift was not at that game, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I don't want
that later.
I don't want no more Taylor Swift. Anyways, the more important news: the Colts releasing linebacker Shaquille Leonard. If you would have told me 2 years ago that after we gave him $100 million extension that he would be released in his third season of that contract, I would have looked at you and told you that you're crazy. But here we are. Injuries have just taken a massive toll on him. It's really hurt his athleticism, his speed, just the way he plays the game. I mean, he's a class act. He's a great guy, but the production was just not there this year. And we make the surprising move to release him rather than wait till the end of the season. It clears a lot of cap room, but we do have also a lot of dead cap hit that we get for taking him. But 31 other teams should be really interested in him because he still has the chance to be one of the better linebackers in football. So certainly surprising. And then about Matt Canada, obviously getting fired by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I am not surprised that happened. It should have probably happened 5 weeks ago. I mean, the fact the Steelers are 6-4 right now, despite the fact they get lucky if they score 20 points a game, is just ridiculous. It speaks to the volumes about how great of a coach Mike Tomlin is. And Mike Sullivan will be the new interim offensive coordinator, which is funny because in the city of Pittsburgh, their hockey head coach is also named Mike Sullivan. So we have two Pittsburgh guys named Mike Sullivan for the two sports teams there, and they wear the same color. The teams wear the same colors.
Mike is better this season.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, the Penguins are doing okay, and the Steelers are in a playoff spot though. So I don't really know, but we'll see. But we gotta talk about the games though this week.
Yes. To start, the teams that had bye this week have upcoming games this week, and the Falcons have the Saints 1 p.m. on Fox, and they both had a bye this week. Colts take on the Bucs 1 p.m. on CBS. Patriots head to Jersey for the Giants at 1 p.m. on Fox. Pretty exciting games. Let's talk about that Sunday night game real quick. We'll go into the prime time games first. The Broncos beat the Vikings 21-20. Kareem Jackson has his second 4-game suspension this season. That is now being testified. No surprise there. Not much to add. The Vikings had an excellent first half, a horrible second half. It was a good challenge. It was a good game. Definitely a challenge towards the end. And now we have to question ourselves. Are the Broncos really for real? Are the Broncos a playoff team? Are the Broncos going to be this team that's like, hey, they're back at it. They're this Broncos team once more. We'll have to answer those questions. I can't even rant about them because they're good. And they're too good. But the question is, are they truly worthy is the question. And, of course, the Vikings have a Monday night game coming up. And the Broncos have the Browns on Fox at the 4:05 o'clock window next week.
It doesn't matter how the rest of the Broncos season turns out. The fact that they came back after giving up 70 points in that Week 3 game against Miami, the fact they're now 500 on the season is just remarkable. Eli said many times this season that Sean Payton was not the answer. Well, looks like he couldn't be any more wrong. Sean Payton is the answer in Denver. They are back to 500.
He could be the answer. We still have another 7 more games,
remember,
Jack.
The Broncos
12, 15, 14, 15, 16.
You're not going to want to hear this, Eli. The Broncos are only 2 games out of first place now, and they've already beaten the Chiefs once this year. So it is possible. As for Minnesota,
kidding, because the Chargers.
The offense. Hang on, Eli. Hang on. Let me finish with Minnesota. Josh Dobbs played another great game, and I don't care what anyone says. It's not his fault that they lost that game. It's more on Alexander Mattison, who had a horrible game, a horrible fumble, which changed the game. TJ Hawkinson had a couple of drops to the final drive. Minnesota took some bad penalties. Was a little too conservative with the play calling, so they end up losing. Denver takes their first lead of the game just over a minute with over just a minute left. Courtland Sutton has had back-to-back games where he's had ridiculous touchdown catches. He is a star out there in Denver, and this team is back to 500. They have 3 straight wins against teams that were 500 or better going into the game. So it really does just speak volumes about how good this team is and how resilient they are. And we'll see if they can go the rest of the season. Now, Russell Wilson is putting up good numbers. I mean, he did have a lot of checkdowns to running backs this week, but he is at least being a solid game manager, and the Broncos could definitely be a playoff team this year.
And to your point about first place, there is a possibility, and I could see why, because the Chargers stink. We can care less about the Chargers at this point. The Raiders, they're getting wins, but they're not a playoff team. You could eliminate them too. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, I guess you could say. They win some, they lose some, and lose some by not catching. We'll get into that game in just a second. So there is a possibility for first place. Do I think it's possible? No, the Chiefs are still going to win it. And hopefully Taylor Swift does show up to those games. And speaking of Taylor Swift, before we get to Taylor Swift.
Wait, hang on, Eli.
You were right about the pick. I was wrong. Final score of that game, 21-20.
Yeah, that's
None of us got it right, the score, but you got it right. I got it wrong.
I did get it right. That's right.
Now on to a game that disappointed a lot, but I was actually a pretty good Monday night game. Let's talk about the Eagles versus over the Chiefs 21-17. We both got the pick right, and I got it right for the upset of the week. And you know why it was an upset? Because Taylor Swift wasn't there. Why wasn't Taylor Swift there, folks? Well, because her concert got moved back because of hot heat conditions in where she is performing. So she was supposed to go, but then had to cancel due to concert configuration. If she would have been there, they would have won the game. Other than that, the Eagles played a sloppy game, but yet won once more. The offense won. The defense is good. There's not much more to add in that sense. The Chiefs dropped the ball too many times. That was the worst play of the game. The worst feeling in the world. Watching that minute 48, you had the ball literally in your hands and you drop it. Every single person I was talking to today said that was got to be the worst feeling in the world because you had it. He literally had it in his hands. That would have been a perfect. And of course, that was a second down play, too. So that would have literally sold the game and won for the Chiefs and made the exciting ending more exciting. Overall, it was a great game. Chiefs are off to Vegas next week to take on the Raiders. Eagles are home to take on the Bills. Both games are at 4:25 p.m. on CBS. And yeah, I think that was a great game.
Well, it doesn't matter whether said person is there or not.
Taylor Swift.
It does not matter.
Yes, it does.
If she's there because she does what she does not affect is whether the fact that these Chiefs receivers can catch the ball or not.
No,
and it doesn't matter if she's
that's
been there
true.
or not. These Chiefs receivers are horrible at catching the ball. I don't even know. I guess Juju Smith-Schuster was really good last year, and I guess it really showed because the Chiefs, they just can't catch anything this year. Travis
Nope.
Kelce's been bad the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no Taylor Swift. That's why.
Eli, enough, please, no more.
I'm
We
just
need
saying
to
the
talk about
truth, though,
football.
Jack.
All right. Okay. You know, I'm going to talk about the Eagles because I don't have to worry about the Eagles. Have the better Kelsey brother, by the way. So the Eagles won. They used the tush push, and they just Eli, you're muted. Guys, I think we're having some issues.
Hi. In the
There we go.
season. In the regular season.
All right. Well, the Eagles won. That's all that matters. It helped me get my picks right for this week. The Eagles are the best
you
team
did
in
too
the
for me. I'm
NFL
just
right
saying.
now.
I'm just saying.
Congratulations to the Eagles for a big win on Monday Night Football. And Caitlin Clark predicted a touchdown catch to Travis Kelce on the Peyton Eli broadcast. So good for Caitlin Clark. But fun game. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. The Cowboys over the Panthers. Final score of that game, 33-10.
I was close.
Don't trust the Cowboys. Don't trust them because they played the Panthers. And now next week they have the Commanders. Yeah, you're kind of, but my point is that the Cowboys, they won 33-10. We both got the pick right. That's all that really matters at this point. Don't trust the Cowboys. That's all I'm saying. The Panthers did not look good. Cowboys have a Thanksgiving game, 4:30 on CBS. And Panthers are off to Tennessee. And Jerry Jones is inducting Jimmy Johnson from Fox Sports into the Cowboy Ring of Honor on December 30th. Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. And also, the Cowboys have fined Neville Gallimore $9,754 for unnecessary roughness during the Giants game. So, interesting fact to know. And what are your thoughts?
I mean, well, I did almost get the score right. I had 31-7. It was 33-10, so pretty close on that. Deron Bland, the Cowboys defensive back, tied an NFL record this week with his fourth pick six of the season. He's had 4 pick sixes so far in the season. It doesn't matter. There's only been a handful of NFL players to have more than 1 pick six in a season, and he's got 4 on the season, and he still has. Let's see. He has, I think he still has 7 more games to potentially set the record. So, congratulations to Deron Bland. The Panthers became the first NFL team this year to clinch a losing season. So, congratulations. It's been an awesome season for the Panthers. They were the first in something. So, congratulations to the Panthers. And yeah, so
what a ride.
Easy win for the Cowboys. And
may I tell you,
that's really all I was gonna say. And needless to say, we both got the pick right.
And the Panthers, man, they're unbelievable this year. Everything the coaching staff has done and the players, it's just what a ride they're taking. And I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs because they're that team, right, Jack?
Yeah.
It's a joke. I know they're not making it. They stay. Yeah, you knew that from day one. I'm just taking. LOL. Not that funny tonight, I guess. Browns over Steelers 13-10. Browns played a very close game. Huge win without Deshaun Watson. Kicking was on point. Steelers struggled, and the Steelers fired their offensive coordinator. And Joe Flacco has officially signed with the practice squad for the Browns. Browns are off to Denver, and Cincinnati has the Steelers. Thoughts on the game, if any?
Well, this game did get Matt Canada fired. The Steelers' offense was terrible. Now,
Oh,
I
hold
will
on,
say as
hold on,
bad as
hold on. You hold on. You got your pick wrong. I got it right.
thank you, Eli. Matt Canada was horrible in this game. No wonder he got fired. The Steelers have less than 100 passing yards in this game. That's really all I have to say. The Browns' defense is the best in the NFL. They did give up 38 points though to the Colts. Fun fact. But anyways, the Browns ended up winning. A nice try by DTR to get down there and get a game-winning field goal. Dustin Hopkins has been quite the kicker this season. His second straight week with a game-winning field goal as time expired over an AFC North opponent. The Browns are right in the middle of the playoff race at 7-3. And well, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep this up the rest of the season. They still have some tough games, but barring a ridiculous collapse, looks like the Browns are going to be a playoff team. Now, are they going to go far in the playoffs with a backup quarterback? Probably not. We saw that
No.
with the Ravens last year, but the Browns have been a fun story this year, especially without Nick Chubb. We keep forgetting that he got hurt all the way back in
Right.
week 2.
That's right. We don't even consider him, and now look at where
They're
he's
looking
going
pretty
now.
good. Well, Jim
Yeah.
Schwartz is the coordinator of the year probably. So good win for the Browns. It was the only pick this week that Eli got right and I got wrong, but yeah, good win for the Browns. But maybe it was bad though because they got Matt Canada fired. I'm sure every team in the AFC North really wanted Matt Canada to stay, so
Right.
the Steelers would be bad.
Yeah. All right. Next game. Lions over the Bears. 31-26.
What a game.
We both got that right. He got it right for Survivor. And Lions were sleeping in the first half. All of a sudden, woke up, smelled the coffee, and they did pretty good. They win it with an extra safety. The defense was on point, and they're in victory formation nonetheless. I can trust them. The Lions have a Thanksgiving game. They play the Packers. The Bears are off to Minnesota for Monday Night Football. The Bears, on the other hand, struggled. Had a great first half, but the second half could have been better. Thoughts on the game?
Well, first off, I know you were saying the Lions were asleep for the first half, but forget that. They were asleep until less than 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. They were down 26-14 with 3:05 left in the fourth quarter. I mean, most teams would never come back from it. The Bears probably had like a 97% chance to win, according to PFF. That's usually how they do that.
Yeah.
But everyone wants to hate on Jared Goff for the 3 interceptions he threw. He led 2 masterful drives at the end there to give the Lions the win. So many big catches, guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta making big plays. This offense is legit. I mean, they had an off game against the Bears, but every team's going to have an off game once a year. And the Lions, despite that, found a way to win this game, a game that they probably shouldn't have won. And they got a safety at the end for good measure. Dan Campbell was so excited after the game. I live for Dan Campbell's locker room speeches. I'd run through a brick wall for that guy, in all honesty.
Wow.
But that guy is just a phenomenal head coach. The Lions should be giving every other team that interviewed him a big gift basket for letting Campbell go to the Lions. And what a win for them, for sure. Their defense is underrated. I will say, though, Justin Fields played really, really well. Him and DJ Moore look like they have a really good connection. And Fields showed this week that it's not his problem. It's the coaches that are the problem in Chicago.
Okay. Next up.
No, I didn't think I was going to get it right, though. That was my Survivor. I was so nervous at the end that I was going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
But fortunately, they came back.
And a game that got me annoyed. Packers over the Chargers through 23-20.
Yeah.
You got the pick right, and you also got it right for the upset of the week. I was wrong by a whole lot. Surprisingly, the Packers are a winning team again. The kicking unit is their key to success. They have a matchup upcoming with the Lions on Thanksgiving. The Chargers have been disappointing, and big test to come for the Ravens this upcoming Sunday. Not much more to add, but the Chargers have a Ravens game on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Packers travel to Detroit for Thanksgiving. Thoughts on the game, if any?
I'm so sorry, Chargers fans. Just kidding. There probably are no Charger fans.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. That one fan, the one that was on the Pat McAfee show, the crazy lady.
Yeah. Okay, Eli. But anyways,
than her,
the Chargers are just an absolute mess. Justin Herbert continues to try to carry the team every week. He is not really help though in any way. The defense is maybe the worst in the NFL. Brandon Staley doesn't want to take any accountability for his defensive play calling. He is too stubborn to hand over the play calling, and he just keeps saying that he trusts his guys to do what he does. I mean, it's so stupid. The Chargers were up 19-16, I believe, or 20-16,
Right.
and they take a pass interference penalty on a 3rd and 20. That is unacceptable. That is just being undisciplined in a game of football.
Unacceptable.
And the Packers made Jordan Love look like Tom Brady out there. Or the Chargers made Jordan Love look like Tom Brady. That's hard to do because Jordan Love's had a rough year. But
Right.
hey, good win for the Packers. I told you they're going to win because the Chargers are the Chargers. I mean, I should just probably not pick them to win anymore. I mean, I didn't pick them to win this week, and I got the pick right. But yeah, the Chargers are just so frustrating to watch. 4-6, despite the fact they have a lot of talent on this team. They're never going to change. As for the Packers, a pretty nice win for them. 2 wins in their last 3 games. We'll see if they can continue that, but it's not going to be easy, though, against the Lions on Thanksgiving.
All right. Texans over the Cardinals, 21-16. We both got the pick right. I tell you, trust the Texans. Trust in the process. Trust CJ Stroud as they're ready for the playoffs. They're an excellent team with an excellent matchup next week with the Jaguars. The Cardinals are getting somewhat back to business, not been out fully there yet. Texans have the Jaguars at 1 o'clock on CBS. Cardinals have the Rams 4 or 5 p.m. on Fox. What are your thoughts on that game?
Well, first off, I have to give a lot of credit to Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals for being so competitive in all these games. I mean, they almost won this game. They intercepted CJ Stroud 3 times on Sunday. We all want to talk about how the numbers he's putting up, but this Cardinals defense made him look vulnerable out there. Got 3 interceptions. The offense makes some big plays. The Texans were able to pull it out, though. The Texans defense really, really stepped up in this game. That was really good to see from them. DeMeco Ryans, he is probably coach of the year. I mean, the Texans are 6-4. A place where none of us expected to be. I mean, who would have thought after losing to the Panthers that the Texans would come back and win 3 straight, including a win over the Bengals on the road. It's just phenomenal job by the Texans.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, though, you could say the same about. The Cardinals played a great game. We both got the pick right. And yeah, the Texans have a big one, a first place battle next week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can't wait for that one.
And for those watching at home, please feel free to use those YouTube chats or whatever you're watching to comment on today's podcast.
We appreciate all of your comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, before we'll take a break real quick as 3 teams are left in the 4 o'clock window and 3 teams left in the 1 o'clock. Let's remind everybody of the NFL standings entering to this week. 9-1 Eagles, 8-2 Lions, 8-3 Ravens, 7-3 Browns, Cowboys, Jaguars, Chiefs, Dolphins, 49ers. 6-4 Texans, Steelers, Seahawks, 6-5 Bills and Vikings, 5-5 Bengals, Broncos, Colts, Saints, 5-6 Raiders, 4-6 Falcons, Packers, Chargers, Rams, Jets, Buccaneers, 4-7 Commanders, 3-7 Titans, 3-8 Bears and Giants, 2-8 Patriots, 2-9 Cardinals, and the 1-9 Panthers. Those are your NFL standings for this week. We will have a playoff picture reminder beginning next week. I'll be adding that to every Tuesday show beginning next week since Thanksgiving's over. And that's when usually the playoffs become more serious and in-depth. All right. Jaguars over Titans, 34-14. Jaguars played the Titans at home, so an easy victory formation for them. Titans do not win road games. That is the bottom line. Huge win for the Jaguars. Good matchup next week versus the Texans. The Titans stink playing away, but should get a victory next week home versus the Panthers at 1 o'clock. Both games are on. One's on Fox, one's on CBS. So that's the note to keep in mind about. Regarding the pick, we both got it right, and I got my lock right for that game. No surprise there. Do you have any thoughts on this game? I mean, I don't think there are many for the Titans, but the Jaguars, I'm sure there are.
Finally, Trevor Lawrence looked like the quarterback we all thought he'd be. I mean, I know the Jags are having a great season. They're in first place, but if you go and look at the games, Trevor Lawrence has not taken that next step forward this year. It's mainly been the defense and Travis Etienne that have done the heavy lifting. This week, though, was T-Law, 24-32 for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, both of which, by the way, went to Calvin Ridley, who had his third 100-yard of the game of the season. It's pretty much either 100 yards or 0 yards for Calvin Ridley, but he had a big game, had a 103 yards and 2 touchdowns, even had 18 yards rushing on the ground. Great game from the Jags today. Lawrence had 2 rushing touchdowns, a big one for the Jags at home. Tennessee is just a disaster. Will Levis has pretty much no protection there. Derrick Henry is really not the same anymore. I mean, he's just Derrick Henry has pretty much, it just doesn't really seem like he has a lot to take. I mean, he had 38 yards this week. I mean, it just doesn't really seem like Derrick Henry is really a threat anymore in the league. and Tennessee's defense got shelled. Tennessee's only 2 touchdowns in this game came on a flea flicker and a pass to a defensive tackle. That's pretty concerning, but good
Yeah,
win for the Jags at home. It's only their second home win of the season, by the way. This is their second win at TIAA Bank Field.
right. All right, next game on the list. The Dolphins over the Raiders 20-13. The Dolphins played a close game, but would say the day was not Tua, but the defense. The defense was on point. Excellent win. And now they're off to the first ever Black Friday game, which will be on Prime Video and local coverage available on Fox if you're in the tri-state area. The Raiders couldn't execute what was needed, and now an interesting battle faces the Raiders next week versus the Chiefs. The Dolphins travel to New Jersey, of course, and the Chiefs are up next. So pretty good game. Raiders didn't execute it fully, but the Dolphins saved the day with that defense. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, this game
Oh,
was
wait,
a pretty close game.
we both got the pick right.
Yeah, I tried to. I told a lot of people, like, don't be surprised if the game ends up being close, and that's exactly what it was. Now the Raiders' offense was not really that great. Aiden O'Connell, 3 interceptions. The Raiders' defense, though, these last 3 weeks, really these last 4 weeks, have been outstanding. Really, on all levels, the Raiders' defense has been really good, and that might keep them in the playoff contention for these next couple of weeks at least. Miami's defense, though, really showed up. The offense struggled. I mean, Tyreek Hill did not struggle. I mean, that guy just puts up ridiculous stats every single week. But the rest of the team kind of struggled, a couple of bad turnovers, but they got out with the win. That's all that really matters. And they've got pretty much an easy win against the Jets next week. I mean, unless something crazy happens, but we'll see. But good win for the Dolphins, though, and a good fight by the Raiders.
All right, next game on the list. Tommy DeVito, the Don Bosco prep quarterback, gets the first win as quarterback with the New York Giants, defeating the Commanders 31-19. We both got this pick wrong. No surprise there. The Giants did it again. Somehow they beat the Commanders with Don Bosco prep quarterback Tommy DeVito, and now it seems that they could be back on track once more. Probably not, but maybe they'll get another few more wins. The Commanders look horrible, and they hope to redeem themselves with the Cowboys this weekend in Dallas on Thanksgiving. The Giants have the Patriots 1 p.m. on Fox on Sunday. So I think his bed was made nice, and his dinner with his parents was very well. And I don't think there's much to add there. I hope it was good for him, at least considering it was his first win. And what are your thoughts on Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants beating the Commanders?
Man, the Commanders. What a fun team to watch. A team that honestly could be in playoff contention. Tim Howell, one of the league leaders in passing yards. Offense is doing good. The Commanders have gone from the 7th best scoring defense last year to a defense that can't stop a nosebleed.
Wait, hold on. Let's just recap real quick. In week 1, you said that they were a team that they were new to the Washington Commanders when they won, that they're a team to watch out for. They're going to be. What are your thoughts now when looking back at it?
Once they get rid of Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, they will be a team to watch out for because Sam Howell looks like the real deal at a franchise quarterback. The Commanders just need another year or two, honestly. Like they have lots of pieces that they can build around. We'll just have to see, but maybe the Commanders will go in and beat the Cowboys next week. It's the Commanders. Anything can happen because they just win the most random games that they're never supposed to. But as for the Giants, well, Tommy DeVito had his best game. I feel like more passing yards this week than the last 3 weeks combined. So
pretty much.
Congratulations to Tommy DeVito on his first NFL win, and congratulations to the Giants for winning a totally meaningless game that affects their draft positioning now. So congratulations to the Giants for accomplishing that feat. Fun game. Now the Giants own the Commanders 3-0-1 against them the last 2 years.
I agree. Next game on the list, the 49ers over the Buccaneers 27-14. Talona Hufanga has suffered an ACL injury, will miss the rest of the season. The 49ers played an excellent game nonetheless. No other thoughts to add there. The Buccaneers could do better, but at least they got 14 points on the board. Should be an interesting battle next week versus the Indianapolis Colts. That game is going to be at 1 o'clock on CBS. 49ers take on the Seattle Seahawks on Thanksgiving Night Football on NBC, 8:20 p.m. Should be a fun one there. We both got the pick right. He got the lock right. I got the survivor pick right for the 49ers. What are your thoughts on this game that went to a 27-14 victory for the 49ers?
Well, a game well played by Tampa. I mean, I know a 13-point loss is bad, but they definitely did good in this game, or at least better than we thought they would. Baker continues to show some promise. Now, is he the long-term answer? Probably not, but at least for now, he's a solid game manager that's keeping this team in games, and I wouldn't sleep on them next week against my Colts. I mean, I hope the Colts win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go win. Yeah, they have some pretty impressive wins this season, but either way, A much needed win for the 49ers. They've won back-to-back now after that 3-game losing streak. They look like the Super Bowl contender we saw those first 5 weeks. Not the team that had lost 3 games in a row. Brock Purdy, a perfect passer rating last week. Congratulations to Mr. Irrelevant. Everyone was calling him a bust after. I mean, first of all, I don't know how you call Mr. Irrelevant a bust to begin with. But after last week, though, I mean, I think that's really not true. Now, is he a system quarterback? Yes, I think we can all agree on that. But isn't every quarterback a system quarterback? Like, would Patrick Mahomes really be this good without Andy Reid and Travis Kelce? It's
No.
kind of true. Unless your name is Ryan Fitzpatrick, because he pretty much did the same thing with every team. But,
True.
But a good win for the 49ers, and Tampa Bay hanging in there, but they're not gonna. I don't expect them to be much of a playoff threat. I mean, they are only one game out of a playoff spot, but we'll have to see though what happens.
All right, let's go to the Bills over the Jets, 32-6. Finally, Zach Wilson gets benched. We'll have a new quarterback in of Tim Boyle and another backup quarterback backing Tim Boyle up. So Zach Wilson will not even be in the picture for this Black Friday game. Of course, the Dolphins the Jets home the Dolphins for the first ever Black Friday game, 3 p.m. on Fox, and tri-state coverage available on Fox. Jets stink. That's the bottom line. The offense stinks. Defense is good. Not really, though, in that game. The Bills did great. Not much more to add there. And the Bills have the Eagles for an epic game, 4:25 p.m. on CBS on Sunday. What are your thoughts on that crazy game? I mean, it was crazy. It was supposed to be crazy. And we both got the pick. I got the pick wrong. You got it right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, Eli, why you picked the Jets. No offense. I
had faith in them, and I thought the Bills would not do good, but clearly I was wrong.
The Bills own the Jets at home. They do. It's just a great win for them. Josh Allen limited the turnovers this week, and that's why they won the game. The Bills defense gave the Jets nothing on offense. It means that you really thought Zach Wilson was going to go into Buffalo and beat the Bills. Absolutely not. An easy win for the Bills. Now, a contender, I don't know about that, but at least they got a must win for them. With so many tough games ahead, they have the Eagles. That's a pretty tall test. They've got Kansas City still, Miami again, Dallas, a really tough schedule for the Bills, but they need to get a win this week, and they did, to get them back to over 500, and they are in the middle of the playoff race as well. So a good win for them as the Jets. I don't expect them to be in contention the rest of the season, especially with Miami coming up. That's a really tough game for them.
All right. So let's move on to a very disappointing game. The Rams over the Seahawks, 17-16. You can't blame the kicking because I don't expect you to make a 55-yard kicking a field goal. The offense was just horrible. The defense was excellent, I guess you could say, to a point, but struggled. The Rams, of course, own the Seattle Seahawks. No surprise there. Seahawks rookie special teams player Jarek Reed is out with an ACL injury. That's unfortunate. Seahawks play the 49ers on Thanksgiving Night Football on NBC, 8:20 p.m., and the Rams travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals, 4:05 p.m. on Fox. What it could say real quick is might be one of the worst games I've watched for the Seattle Seahawks. I got this pick wrong, so is you. And I just don't even want to talk about this game. If you want to, feel free to need to be my guest, but I just don't even want to talk about how bad that game was for the Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, but I've seen other Seattle fans that are going out there blaming the refs for this loss. I don't agree with that. I don't think the refs were the reason why they lost this game. The Rams got some pretty tacky calls on them as well. So the refs played a pretty fair game. I mean, Seattle, they just couldn't do anything. Drew Lock was horrible when he came in. The offense wasn't really doing much before that. And they are one of the worst third down offenses in the NFL. And Kenneth Walker suffering that injury is certainly going to hurt, especially with a short week coming up against San Francisco. And this is a tough loss. This is a tough loss for Seattle to swallow, considering the fact that their next 4 games are brutal. This felt like a must-win. Now it's 6-4 with these next 4 games, which they might be an underdog in every single one of them. 6-8 or 7-7 at the worst is a very real possibility. So you got to try to hope, Eli, to go 500 over these next 4 weeks, because this is a brutal stretch of games that you have coming up for the Seattle Seahawks. But hey, I mean, it is Seattle. It is one of the toughest environments to play in. So maybe San Francisco will be challenged going there this week. But we'll have to see on that. And we have Martin in here. Hopefully Geno is a go Thursday night. Drew Lock was terrible when he came in. Yeah, Geno came in for the final drive. He definitely should be a go. But I guess that's up to the Seattle coaching.
But it was the way he said today. It's a game time decision from what he said in the press conference. So it's to be determined. So
I would expect him to go for sure. So I think he's going to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully.
you gotta hope so because Drew Lock did not look good when he came
All
back.
right, so that is our Week 11 breakdown reactions. Time to make our Week 12 game picks. Of course, we are not making our Sunday or Monday picks. We are making our Thanksgiving picks plus Black Friday. It's 4 picks, not 1.
We got a
Like
lot of
usual.
football this weekend. 4 days of 4 days of football in 5 days.
And they're going to
Thursday,
wear
Friday, Sunday, and Monday.
the lime green jerseys for Thursday night. Pretty cool.
For Seattle, yeah, those
Yes.
are awesome. Seattle
Yes.
has some of the best jerseys overall, but those lime greens are sick, man.
Yes.
Those jerseys are amazing.
All right, so let's get into those game picks. And as a reminder, we will have a show at 7 o'clock on Friday, as soon as at 7 o'clock for our usual show for our picks and a recap of the Thanksgiving Black Friday games. As soon as the Jets and Dolphins game ends, if that game runs later than 7 o'clock, we'll obviously wait till that game ends before we go on air. But that will happen at 7 o'clock on Friday. So stay tuned for a fun night. All right, let's get into our picks. Packers Lions Thanksgiving game, 12:30 p.m. on Fox. Detroit's in favored by 7.5. Give me the Lions, 26-19.
I like it, for sure. Packers have played well the last few weeks, and I know the Bears just gave the Lions a real heart attack, but the Lions are going to bounce back from this. They're going to be unhappy with the way they play, and they're going to come out fiercely on Thursday night in front of their home fans, and what should be a great home crowd. I mean, the Lions faithful has probably not been excited for a Thanksgiving game in a long time, especially since they would get embarrassed on national TV every year. But this year, though, they should definitely be more excited for this year's Thanksgiving game
Yes,
against
indeed.
the Green Bay Packers. Give me the Lions in a 31-19 win. I think the offense is going to play really well. I think the defense is going to humiliate Jordan Love. By the way, the last time the Lions won a home game on Thanksgiving, 2016. That was when Matthew Stafford was still quarterbacking, and they had beaten the Minnesota Vikings that week. But they have lost 6 straight Thanksgiving games since then. So they are trying to get back in the win column on Thanksgiving, and they're going to do that on Thursday. You're muted, Eli.
The next game on the list, sorry about that. Had some conflict real quick. Commanders Cowboys. Dallas is in favor by 11. Give me the Cowboys, 23-17. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys, 23-17. It's going to be a close game than I expected.
I am not going to bet on the Commanders to stay in this game because they sometimes stay in games. They will not stay in this game. The Cowboys win it 37-21. I think the offense is going to really go off against this horrible defense. Sam Howell and the offense, I think, are going to put up some good garbage time when expected, but I expect this to be a blowout win for the Dallas Cowboys at home on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys are pretty good on Thanksgiving, and I expect this to be a pretty solid game for the Cowboys. I expect Dak Prescott to continue a strong play. The defense, I think, is going to have another pretty good week. I think Micah Parsons is going to have a pretty sick game against a pretty bad Washington O-line, and give me the Dallas Cowboys to win on Thanksgiving and stay in the NFC East race for now.
Yeah.
Next game of contention.
Next game on the list is going to be the 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks. Final Thanksgiving night game. 8:20 p.m. on NBC. San Francisco's in favor by 6.5. Give me the Seattle Seahawks 24-21 and my upset of the week.
Of course you did, Eli. Well, I'm sorry to tell you. Well, first of all, let me say that this Thanksgiving slate is unfortunately not great. Consider the fact that the closest game I have this week is this game, which I still have as an 8-point win for the 49ers. 25-17, the final. The Talanoa Hufanga loss is huge. But, I mean, San Francisco has the best defense in the league. They have the best set of playmakers. Their O-line is the best. Brock Purdy got a perfect passing rating. I don't care. The 49ers are the best team in the NFC. Yes, they are better than the Eagles. I said it. Give me the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Seattle Seahawks. I'll give you totally wrong. All right, we'll see if you're booing Eli for our Friday show when the Seahawks get humiliated on Thanksgiving at home. But we will have to see about it.
Miami's in favor by 10.
Jerseys, though, so maybe they have a chance.
Miami's in favor by 10 as they take on the New York Jets from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey for the first ever Black Friday game that is at 3 p.m. on Prime Video. And you could also get that game on Fox if you're in the tri-state area. For my lock and survivor of the week, I'm using it all on these 2 days. Lock and survivor, give me the Dolphins 28-15.
I like it. I like that as your pick. I'm not going to use Dolphins for anything, actually, surprisingly. Actually, I'm going to make them, you know what? No, I changed my mind. They are my lock of the week. Only my lock, though. I've already used them in Survivor, so I can't use them again. Yeah. I wouldn't have used them anyways, but they are along the week. 3 is the final. I mean, I can't really say much more about this game. I mean, Tim Boyle's starting. The Jets will be lucky to score more than 0 points, if I'm being honest, but they'll find a way, though, to score 3. So give me the Dolphins in my lock of the week.
All right. Well, that will do it for today's show. Join us on Friday for our very fun Prediction Friday show for a recap of the Thanksgiving and Black Friday games, as well as a recap of that's pretty much it. And a recap
And by
of
the way, Eli,
and the picks. And hold on.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if Jack's having a show tomorrow, but join him anyways on the Horseshoe Show. Sports with Mano Mano on Saturdays. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Have a safe trip. And I don't want to talk about it. Let's just end the show. Go Seahawks. Go Devils. Good night.
Go Rangers.